Let's be honest for a second. You work hard every single month. You wake up early, you grind through the day, you come home exhausted, and somehow, some way, by the time the month ends, your bank account is sitting there looking absolutely empty, and you're standing there wondering where did all the money go? Sound familiar? Yeah, I thought so, because this is the reality for millions of people around the world, and nobody is talking about the real reason why this keeps happening over and over again. Here's the truth that nobody wants to hear. The difference between people who build wealth and people who stay broke forever is not just about how much money they make. It's about what they do with the money they already have. It's about the daily decisions, the small purchases, the habits that seem completely harmless on the surface but are quietly draining your financial future every single day. Rich people have figured this out. They have a completely different relationship with money, and they actively avoid certain things that most of us don't even think twice about buying. I'm going to show you exactly what those things are, and I'll warn you right now, number 7 and number 10 on this list are going to hit different. A lot of people don't even realize they're making these mistakes because nobody ever sat them down and explained it clearly. So stay with me until the very end, because what you learn today could genuinely be the turning point.
You've been waiting for this. The first thing that poor people keep buying that rich people completely avoid is lottery tickets and gambling. Every single day, millions of people walk into stores and spend their hard-earned money on scratch cards, lottery tickets, and betting apps with the hope that one lucky moment will change their entire life. And I get it, the dream is powerful. The idea that for just a small amount of money, you could become a millionaire overnight is incredibly seductive. But here's the brutal reality. The odds of winning a major lottery jackpot are roughly 1 in several hundred million. You're statistically more likely to be struck by lightning multiple times than you are to win the lottery. And yet, people keep buying tickets every single week without fail. Now, let's do the actual math here. If someone spends just $50 a month on lottery tickets, that's $600 a year. Over 20 years, that's $12,000 gone. But if that same person had invested those $50 every month into a simple index fund with an average annual return of around 8%, they would have over $29,000 after 20 years. That's the difference between blind hope and strategic thinking. Rich people understand that wealth is not built on luck. It's built on consistent, disciplined action. They don't gamble because they know the house always wins. They put that money to work for them instead. The second thing on this list is buying brand new cars. Now, before you get defensive, hear me out completely. A brand new car loses somewhere between 15 to 25% of its value the moment you drive it off the dealership lot. That is not a figure of speech. That is a financial fact. So if you buy a car for $30,000 today, by the time you get home, it's already worth significantly less. And by the end of the first year, you've lost thousands of dollars just by owning it. Cars are what financial experts call depreciating assets, meaning they lose value over time rather than gaining it. And then you stack on top of that the cost of insurance, maintenance, fuel, registration fees, and if you financed it, the interest payments on your loan. Suddenly, that car is costing you a fortune every single month just to sit in your driveway. Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest humans who has ever lived on this planet, drove used cars for most of his life, not because he couldn't afford new ones, but because he understood the fundamental principle that you don't buy things that make you look wealthy, you buy things that actually make you wealthy. If you need a car, buy a reliable 2- or 3-year-old vehicle and invest the difference. Your future self will thank you. The third thing is trendy fashion and fast fashion. The fashion industry has spent billions of dollars figuring out exactly how to get inside your head and make you feel like whatever you wore last season is completely worthless now. And they are very, very good at it. Every few months, there's a new trend, a new must-have item, a new style that everyone seems to be wearing. And if you're not keeping up, you feel left behind. So you buy, and then you buy again, and then you buy again after that. Fast fashion stores are designed to manufacture desire. The prices feel low enough that each individual purchase doesn't seem like a big deal. But when you add it all up across an entire year, you've spent an enormous amount of money on clothes that fall apart quickly and go out of style even faster.
Rich people approach clothing completely differently. They buy fewer pieces but invest in quality items that last for years. Steve Jobs wore the same style of black turtleneck and jeans almost every single day of his adult life. Mark Zuckerberg does the same thing with simple gray t-shirts. This is not a coincidence. They eliminated the mental energy of choosing what to wear so they could focus on things that actually mattered. Buy less, buy better, and stop dressing for other people's approval. The fourth thing is junk food and unhealthy daily habits. This one people really underestimate. Think about your average day. Maybe you grab a coffee and a pastry on the way to work. Then there's a fast food lunch because you didn't have time to prepare anything. In the afternoon, you hit a vending machine for a snack. Maybe after work you order takeout because you're too tired to cook. Every one of those individual purchases feels tiny and insignificant, but tack them up over a full month, and you're looking at a number that would genuinely shock you. And that's only the financial side. The physical side is even more damaging. Poor nutrition leads to low energy, poor focus, weakened immunity, and eventually serious health problems that come with enormous medical bills. Rich people treat their health like an investment because they understand that your body is the vehicle through which you create everything in your life. If the vehicle breaks down, nothing else works. They exercise regularly, they eat nutritious food, they sleep properly, and they protect their mental health. These habits don't just save money on medical costs, they dramatically increase your productivity and your ability to generate income. The fifth thing is paying for subscriptions you never actually use. This is one of the sneakiest money drains in modern life. Streaming services, gym memberships, meal kit deliveries, app subscriptions, magazine subscriptions, software subscriptions. You signed up during a free trial or a promotional period, you used it a few times, and then you completely forgot about it. But the company did not forget about you. They keep quietly withdrawing money from your account every single month, and because it's automatic, you barely notice it disappearing. Right now, go through your bank statements and your credit card bills and make a list of every single subscription you're currently paying for. Be honest with yourself about which ones you actually use consistently. I can almost guarantee you will find at least 2 or 3 that you had completely forgotten about. Cancel every single one that you cannot justify with regular, meaningful use. Wealthy people know exactly where every dollar of their money is going. They don't allow passive leaks to drain their accounts quietly. The sixth thing is payday loans and high-interest debt. This is one of the most devastating financial traps that exists, and it specifically targets people when they are at their most vulnerable. When you're desperate for money, a payday loan feels like a lifeline. The catch is, the interest rates are absolutely brutal, often reaching 300% or more on an annualized basis. So you borrow money to solve one problem and you create a much bigger problem that follows you for months or even years afterward. Credit card minimum payments work in a similarly destructive way. If you only make the minimum payment on a credit card balance, you could literally spend decades paying off a relatively small amount of money while the interest eats you alive. Debt is gravity for your finances. The more of it you carry, the harder it is to lift yourself up. Wealthy people are extremely careful about debt. They understand the difference between good debt, which builds assets, and bad debt, which destroys wealth. If you currently have high-interest debt, eliminating it should be your absolute top financial priority, before anything else. The seventh thing is buying luxury items to impress other people. Pay very close attention here because this is one of the most psychologically powerful traps on this entire list. Human beings are social creatures, and we are deeply wired to care about how others perceive us. Marketing companies and brands exploit this instinct brilliantly. They sell you the idea that owning a certain product makes you successful, sophisticated, and admirable. So you buy the expensive sneakers, the luxury handbag, the latest flagship smartphone, the designer watch, and you put it all on credit, or you sacrifice your savings to afford it. But here's the devastating irony. Most of the people you're trying to impress are too busy worrying about their own image to genuinely care about yours. You are spending money you don't have on things you don't need to impress people you don't particularly know, to feel a sense of status that disappears the moment the purchase is old news. Wealthy people buy luxury items too, but they do it when they can genuinely afford it without any financial strain, and they do it because they actually want it, not because they want someone else to see it. Before every major purchase, ask yourself honestly, am I buying this because it adds real value to my life, or am I buying it to manage how someone else sees me? The eighth thing is unnecessary extended warranties and pointless insurance products. Walk into any electronics store, and within minutes of deciding to make a purchase, a salesperson will try to sell you an extended warranty. They make it sound like an absolute necessity. What if something goes wrong? What if it breaks? But the truth is that extended warranties are incredibly profitable for the companies selling them, precisely because they rarely pay out enough to justify the cost. Statistically, you are better off putting that money into a savings account and using it if something actually breaks. Similarly, there are entire categories of insurance products that are marketed aggressively but provide very little actual value. Cell phone insurance, flight cancellation insurance for domestic trips, credit card payment protection plans. These small add-ons seem insignificant individually, but they accumulate into a significant annual expense. Keep the insurance that protects you from genuinely catastrophic financial events, like health insurance, life insurance, and home or renter's insurance. But critically evaluate every other insurance product before you agree to pay for it. The ninth thing is buying courses and books that they never finish or apply. Now, this one is slightly different from the others because the products themselves are genuinely valuable. Education and self-improvement are critically important, but there's a specific pattern that keeps a lot of people broke and feeling productive at the same time. And it goes like this. You feel motivated one weekend and you buy an online course about investing or starting a business or improving your skills. You watch the first 2 or 3 modules with great enthusiasm, then life gets busy, motivation fades, and the course just sits there in your account untouched. The problem is not the knowledge. The problem is the illusion of progress that comes from buying something without actually implementing it. Call this concept completion. Your brain gets a small satisfaction hit just from the act of purchasing the course because it registers the intention as partially accomplished. Rich people learn differently. They choose one resource, they go through it completely and deliberately, they apply what they've learned in the real world, and only then do they move on to the next thing. Stop collecting knowledge. Start applying it. The 10th and final thing, and this is the big one, is selling your time and attention for almost nothing. This is the deepest and most invisible reason why so many people stay financially stuck their entire lives. Every single day, you wake up with a finite number of hours. Those hours are the only truly irreplaceable resource you will ever possess. You can always make more money. You can never make more time. And yet, most people trade their hours of peak cognitive performance for things that produce absolutely no return. Hours disappear into endless social media scrolling through content that entertains but never enriches. Evenings evaporate in front of streaming services, watching other people live fictional lives while your own real life sits on pause. Energy gets poured into conversations and relationships that drain rather than develop you. Meanwhile, wealthy people treat time with the same seriousness that they treat money, sometimes even more so. They are fiercely intentional about where their attention goes because they understand a foundational truth that most people never internalize. Your attention is your most valuable currency. Every hour you spend consuming is an hour you're not spending creating, learning, building, or growing. Start tracking how you actually spend your time, the same way you would track your spending. Set limits on social media use. Replace passive consumption with active skill building. Use the early morning hours for deep work before the world pulls your attention in 100 different directions. The compound effect of reclaiming just 1 or 2 hours per day over several years is almost incomprehensible. That is where real wealth begins, not in how much you earn, but in how deliberately you invest your most precious resource. Here is the bottom line. Every single one of these 10 things shares a common thread. They all offer short-term comfort, temporary pleasure, or the appearance of success in exchange for your long-term financial freedom. Poor people prioritize how things feel right now. Wealthy people prioritize how decisions impact their future. That shift in thinking is not complicated, but it requires consistent awareness and the willingness to delay gratification in a world that is specifically engineered to make you spend impulsively. You don't have to fix all 10 of these at once. Start with one, just one. Pick the item on this list that you recognized most strongly in yourself and make a decision today to change that single behavior. One change leads to another. Small habits compound into massive results over time. The person you are 5 years from now will be the direct product of the decisions you start making today. Now here's what I want you to do right now. Scroll down to the comment section and tell me honestly which one of these 10 things hit closest to home for you. Which number made you stop and think, that's me, that's exactly what I've been doing? Be real about it, because there is absolutely no judgment here. Every single person watching this has made financial mistakes, including me and including every wealthy person you've ever admired. The difference is awareness and the decision to do something different from this moment forward. Your comment might also be exactly what someone else needs to read today to finally make a change in their own life. So drop it down below right now. Share this video with someone in your life who needs to hear this message, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.